Welcome to Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it years. I'm your host, Lara Portelli. This is the space where we strip away the polite BS, rip the gloves off and get real about what it means to thrive in our second act. Each week I'm joined by a guest who's walking their own bodacious midlife path. We're talking menopause, divorce, reinvention and everything in between. Buckle up, because this isn't your mother's midlife crisis. This is Midlife Unplugged.
Hello, and welcome back to Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it is. I'm your host, Lara Portelli, and I have the lovely Michelle Bazinet from Canada joining me today to talk all things midlife, midlife edit, midlife unplugged, second act, if you like. She's going to talk about her experience in midlife, in coaching clients, in what she does around this second act, if you like to call it, midlife pruning your garden, whatever you like to call it. So welcome, Michelle. Welcome and hello.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about your fuck it moment and when you knew it was time to do. I think women, it doesn't always have to be around midlife, but there
Yes.
comes a time where you go, I've got a stirring in my soul. I've got something going on here that I know I need to do something a little different. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that moment for you, please.
Yeah. So I have been in the health and fitness space for a few decades. In my early 20s, I did a course to become a coach. And in all honesty, I didn't have the courage to start a business as a coach. I'm a registered massage therapist. I was working as a massage therapist back then. I've been teaching group fitness classes for 23 years. And I'm really good at like taking another course and then doing another thing and then saying I want to do this coaching thing, but always had this fear of starting. And not until I was in my early 40s did I realize, okay, now is the time to do this. And I decided to just say fuck it and figure it out. I think that was the biggest thing of like, how do I do this? Where do I go? How do I take that first step? And the coolest thing that I've experienced is that once you take one step, the next step appears. We don't have to know all the steps and the direction we're going, but we just need to know that first step. So I decided to step into the coaching space, but the struggle for me was I didn't know who I wanted to coach, and in what area I wanted to like specialize in. So I actually had a local gym here in town who had this program that they did for weight loss. And he had a big following and ran a great program in many ways. But what I found was the focus of the program was to teach people how to eat, how to move their bodies. And it was actually a 90-day challenge to see who could lose the most weight the fastest. And I remember seeing that and thinking, oh my gosh, the poor people in this program are really just focusing on what they're eating and how they're moving their body, and not thinking at all about what's happening in their mind, in their brain, and how they're looking at things and how they're looking at their bodies and their habits. It becomes a quick fix for 90 days, and then it isn't sustainable. So I actually reached out to him and said, hey, would you be open to hiring me to be the mindset coach for your members? And he did, which was the catalyst for me to really start to focus on how to help people build really solid habits in their life. And from there, I decided to actually, I think I had my revelation that I'm in midlife. I didn't suddenly realized I was there. How did that happen? And wanted to coach women in their midlife years and really help them look at how they look at food, how they look at movement, how they look at dieting. Can they create results without ever dieting? I had spent decades dieting. I'm not sure about your experience with your body and dieting, but I have spent decades since my late teens looking for the next thing to do in order to lose weight. And I did many things and I got results many times, but results never stayed because I was never doing anything that I intended to actually keep doing. I intended to do things until I got my results. And then I was just going to go back to doing what I was doing before because I didn't know you had to keep doing the thing you did to get the results. So I created a program for women in which we really work on building really simple habits, and we do things in a drastically different way where we just take our time and we do things really slowly, and we build some habits and set women up to win in a way in which they never feel like they have to diet, and in a way in which they're not just chasing a smaller body, Like, I really want women, especially in these midlife years, to start thinking about, like, fuck the smaller body. Let's get stronger. Let's think about how we want to feel in the decades to come. What do we want to be doing? How, we want to be living independently when we're 7 and 80. Okay, what do we need to do now? We need to get strong. So we're shifting that focus with women and helping them look at things in a different way that they're not usually taught.
Love that. Love that. So for our listeners at home, did you just hear that?
Yes.
Stop what you're doing. And did you just hear what Michelle said? It's about creating
Hmm.
longevity for our bodies and sustaining and fueling our bodies and what we need into the second act of our life.
Yes.
Um, not it's for want of a better term,
Hmm.
the di and I actually owned to answer your question from earlier, Michelle, I
Yeah.
actually owned a women's health facility for 6 years myself, a
Okay.
Curves
Yeah.
Women's Gym.
Yeah.
And the reason I went into it was to help women. I've worked in
Yes.
many arenas helping women for a long, long time myself. I soon realized the diet, beauty cultures are a trillion dollar industry
Hmm.
that, uh, don't get me wrong, they've got their place, but they're there to make us feel less than.
Mm.
And as you were saying before, we often don't know what our steps are. If we can just take the
Yes.
first step to get the correct
Yes.
guidance, coaching, help. It's like following the yellow brick road from The Wizard of
Yes.
Oz or the crumbs for Hansel and Gretel. It's for
Yes.
those people that don't know Hansel and Gretel. Yeah,
Mm.
look it up. But it's it's a we now need to be women that expand our mind, boom,
Mm.
and go, what do I need to sustain me correctly into my second
Hmm.
half of my life, rather than culture where I need to, yes, if you need to do weight loss, that's important. However, I like what you were chatting about as well, that for to some degree, Michelle, would you
Hmm.
agree with this, that we shrink our bodies, but we also shrink our voice.
Mm.
And if our mind doesn't keep up with what's going on with dieting, etc., we lose another part of ourselves. Would you
Oh,
agree with that?
100%, 100%, 100%. Because we need to change our identity when we are on this journey. We really have to change the way in which we are looking at ourselves, so looking at the reason why we're doing things, and really setting ourselves up for success. Because what we're really good at is we're chasing fast things. We're chasing things that sound sexy and that can get you like quick results. And women are spending so much money. They're wasting their money. And I see it. I see it online, and it breaks my heart when I see women who are chasing fad things because they want to feel better in their bodies. And they think, though, they actually think that getting into the smaller body is going to make them feel better about themselves. At the end of the day, they're not chasing the smaller body. They're chasing a feeling that they think they're going to experience in that smaller body. They think they're going to feel confident. They think they're going to be loved more. They maybe think they'll love themselves more. So when like instead of chasing that, let's work on how can we love ourselves more? How can we build ourselves up more? How can we build habits in our lives which make us feel good? Because I always say to someone, like it just starts with doing like the littlest thing. Instead of buying the plan and thinking we have to change all of these things on that list on a Monday morning that we're going to start being this different person, start with one thing. We're not an on and off switch, right? We're not that person who turns on a Monday and we have the skills, disciplines, and habits to do what these programs sell us. Let's be a dimmer switch. Let's dial
Oh,
that dimmer up. What is the
yeah.
one little thing that you can dial up? Like, I want to create freedom for women to be able to know that every day looks different, every situation is different, every season is different, and every day is different. So we're going to dial up and do the best that you can in that day, and it's going to look different than the next day, and that is okay. And create from some freedom in this space to create the habits to help them feel better, because when we do better, we feel better. When we do good things for us, it feels better. Instead of sitting at home and thinking I should go for a walk and I should go to the gym and I should eat a certain way, like all of that feels so heavy. And
Mm,
for people, like I had conversations with women who feel like I don't have time to work out for 45 minutes. Well, who says you have to? You can go and you can put one song on and you can go for a walk for just one song. Because you going for a walk for one song is going to make you feel better than sitting on the sofa thinking about all the things that you need to do, right? You drinking an extra glass of water is going to make you feel better than overhauling your diet. You starting your breakfast with protein is going to make you feel better than struggling all day with having to like modify your whole diet. So when we take some actions that take us closer to the person we wish to become, like we have to, every action is a vote for the person you wish to become. And do those things and become her instead of just going through the motions and acting like someone without kind of taking your internal self along with you. If that makes any sense? Taking
Yeah.
your head and your heart along with you.
And I think if we can pause on that for a moment for our
Yeah.
listeners and the lady at home, the woman at home that's, maybe elbow deep in the dishes at the moment and or thinking, I have to do the vacuum next, what's next, what's
Mm,
next, what's next. And
hmm.
I like what you touched on, Michelle, that it's very important that if we can just stop,
Yes.
breathe, and for the lady at home, who are you? What's
Yes.
happening for you in that moment? Can you hear what Michelle is saying?
Hmm.
That if you're thinking in that moment, purchasing that diet that I'm going to on the whatever it is, the 2nd of January, starting that. However, is that really what is going to make you feel better about
Mm,
yourself, as Michelle's saying? Is
right.
that going to make you feel better in that 14 days challenge or the 20-day
Hmm.
challenge, whatever it may be? Is that going to change here? Is that it's such a journey. And
Yes.
I like what you talk about too, Michelle, in that so many women, I think, including yourself, we hit this point when we don't know what to do through lack of education and
Mm,
some self-love and self-respect,
hmm.
where we white knuckle it, so to speak.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
white knuckle that you talk about. It's like, oh, if I just hang on and if I hold my
Yes.
breath
Yes.
forever, I might just come out the other side alive and be
Yeah.
okay. It's not
Right.
what we want for women, right?
No.
We want better. Basically, you were
Yes.
saying we want better, and when we do better or feel better, we do better.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Um,
100%.
and the other thing you were saying, the other thing you talk about too, is when we stop obsessing about what we're not eating or
Mm,
the calories that we've burnt or not burnt today, life becomes a whole lot happier. Would you agree with that,
yes.
Michelle?
100%. 100%. Yeah. I think there's like a time and place for tools that women can do in order to achieve whatever it is that they're looking for. And when I speak of anything in regards to our bodies and our health and fitness space, like you said, it's not just about weight loss. A lot of times it's weight management. It's an important piece, especially in these midlife years, to consider, okay, how can I manage my weight? Manage my weight can be how can I stay this weight? Maybe you want to gain weight, maybe you want to lose weight, whatever it is, to have your body function optimally for you, whatever that looks like for you. How can we move our body? For me, it's the movement. That's a big thing too. How can we move our bodies more? And do these things to really be in a place where we can like move with ease and we can go on vacations when we're a little bit older. We can play with the grandchildren and it is tough when we are in this. It's a lot. Some people can be in some really busy seasons right now, and if you're listening to this and you're in a really busy season, you just know that every season that we're in, they're temporary, right? We're going to have some
Exactly.
busy seasons. We're going to have some seasons that kind of flow with a bit more ease. And again, everything looks different in each season. When I teach my group fitness classes, I always say to someone, I want you to do your best today. And doing your best today is going to look different than doing your best yesterday. If you maybe are under the weather or you're very stressed right now, your best is going to look different than when you had a really great sleep and you're feeling very energized. So it's not about judging how you feel or how you're doing things. It's just understanding that am I doing my best? And that's all you can ask yourself for is to do your best.
I I think that's great. Today is different to yesterday. A
Hmm.
lot of women in midlife are having trouble sleeping. So if you've been awake half the night
Hmm.
and you go, okay, and I've done it, I put my hand up
Yep.
to it. Oh, I have been awake since 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and I need to go to my Pilates class today or
Yes.
my aqua class. I'm feeling washed out, but I better go. I
Mm,
better go. I need to go because I need to go.
mhm.
And you have this mental, emotional wrestling match with yourself before you.
Yes.
Would you
Yes.
agree with that? Do you
A
think that?
100%. It's
Oh my
heavy.
Lord,
It's taxing. It's so taxing, the negotiation that we do. We do so much negotiating in our head.
self-negotiation.
Right? And I teach very early classes at 6 a.m. And I always say my big tip for any women out there, I'll just share a tip, something that really served me well in these years. I have 3 children. I wanted to be more consistent in the gym. I love working out, but found it hard in my schedule at times. So I made a decision a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, to do all of my workouts before my kids went to school. So I need to be home by 7 a.m. So my workout's done by 7 a.m. And I told myself a story for a really long time that I couldn't work out that early every day because I would like every day I would get more tired. It would just build up the fatigue because I'm doing it day after day. And I thought, okay, again, we tell ourselves a lot of stories. I said, no, I'm just going to do it. I can say with just my truth here is that it has been the biggest blessing in my life making this decision because over time it has become a habit and me working out, getting up at 5:15 in the morning is just a part of who I am and what I do, the same way I get up and brush my teeth. And I don't have to negotiate at night. What time am I waking up tomorrow? When am I working out tomorrow? Like I have created so much space for me to be able to do other things because I know I'm setting my alarm for 5:15 and I know the second my alarm gets up, and this is what I teach my class, you do not lay there and think. You move immediately because you're really good at negotiating your way out of the workout if you stay in bed and start thinking. So I lay my clothes out the night before, my alarm goes off, I get up, I move, I get changed, and I go to the gym with there's no thinking, it just is. It just if I'm tired, maybe I do less sets in my workout. Maybe I cut my workout a little bit shorter because a shorter workout on most times is better than no workout. There is the odd time that a woman may say, I need to sleep today, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But really trying to like stop the negotiating, right? And really follow through and honor your word with what you said you would do, because sometimes not honoring that word feels heavy. I didn't do it
Feels
again.
heavier than not going, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't do it
yeah.
again. I want women who are listening to know that something is I preach do not do all or nothing. I'm not an all or nothing person. It's something. We can all do
Mm.
something. And I mean something as little as do 5 squats in your kitchen while you're making
Yeah.
dinner. Pause and take 3 breaths if you need to do some form of meditation. Um, what you can go for that 5 minute walk or just walk down the street and back, doing a couple push-ups on the ground, having, like I said, having that protein at breakfast. It can, and some women may think, well, how does that matter? It matters because you go to bed at night putting your head on your pillow knowing you did something,
Mm,
and that feels good, and we want to chase that good feeling.
mm. And so when you say that you're getting up or you are getting up at 5:15, is that
Mhm.
teaching or for your workout?
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I get up for my own workout.
Mhm.
Thursdays I teach at 8:30, so I get to sleep in an extra hour, and Friday I teach at 6 a.m.
Okay. So it's a
Yeah,
mixture of both.
it's a
So you
mixture of
have the
both.
mixture of, yeah.
Yes,
So for people listening, for our
yes.
listeners, it doesn't, like you're saying, I love that approach. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be all or nothing.
Hmm.
Michelle's made it that some of her week is teaching classes
Hmm.
and some of it's just for her. And,
Yeah.
we talk about doing something for you. And it may be, look, I've been at home. It's okay for you ladies to get on here and talk about, yes, yes, and I've heard it all before, la da
Hmm.
da da da. But if you've been at home all day with your children and,
Mm.
I just can't get out, as your husband comes through the door or your wife, whoever your support person is, just say,
Yes.
I need 5 just to walk to the end of
Yes.
the street and back, as
Yes.
Michelle was saying, around the
Yeah.
block, just some fresh air to reset here when you've been inside with children when it's been raining all day or
Yes.
whatever your situation, everyone's
Yes.
circumstance is different.
Yes.
But find that support person that can just relieve you for 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And I think I think we hear a lot about you need to do self-care, so you need to go to the most expensive hotel, run yourself a
Hmm.
bath, and be away for a weekend. It doesn't have to be like that.
No. No, you know how I actually, when you talk about doing something for me, I got offered to teach another class. And I can be a yes person sometimes, but my gut was saying to say no. But so I said yes initially. And 24 hours later, I said, no, I don't want to take away from my workout because me
Mm,
being at the gym, putting my AirPods in, listening to music or a podcast, I always say that's kind of like my therapy. Like it
mm,
is my space, my time. And for the ladies, it could be that walk with just being in your own space. And I know, and I want to acknowledge that I wasn't able to do these early morning workouts when my kids were younger because the kids get up earlier. Like my kids are 12, 14, and 16. So I am in a season where it is easier for me now to do these things in the morning. For those who have younger kids, it may be more challenging, or it may be having a conversation with your partner. What days out of the week can you do the morning routine? Or can you help with the morning routine and negotiate some time. If you find you're looking for space to do something for you, maybe negotiate with the girlfriend. I'll watch your kids one day at 9:30 or after school so you can go and get some time for 30 minutes and then you can swap. So just be open and curious about how can I make this work for me? How can I find the time for me? What can I say no to in my life to create more space for me, for what's important for me? Because I hear from so many women, the story usually goes like this is I used to work out. I used to do this. I used to do that. And then I had kids,
mm,
right? And I know what it feels like. Our life gets a little chaotic with the kids. But if you have a desire to do something for yourself, get curious about how you can fit it in your life, but also be open that it doesn't have to look the way in which you think it should look or the way in which someone tells you it should look. How can you make it work for you? And it may be, again, a 10-minute thing instead of a 30, or it may be doing it with your kids, right? And
mm.
taking them along with you. So there's many different ways to look at it, but I think sometimes as much as we get caught up in all or nothing, we get caught up in black and white. It has to look a certain way. It should be like
Mm.
this, instead of understanding it could look different.
And I think it goes back a little bit, Michelle, to what we talked about a little bit ago, that don't beat yourself up.
Mhm.
Listeners, if yesterday I got 30 minutes to walk, I had planned to go to the gym today. Some things
Mhm.
happened, so that's it, I'm done. I'm not going again.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Yes, I
is that
know,
something
I
that
know.
I've seen it happen when I was coaching a lot.
Yes,
It didn't work today, so I'm not coming.
yes, yeah,
I'm canceling my appointment because something got in my way.
right,
And that goes back to what you were talking about just
yes,
now about
yes,
desire.
yes,
Okay, today didn't
yes,
work out, that black and white, all or nothing, black or
mhm,
white. I think the word would be flexibility. And life
yes,
doesn't always, as you said,
yes,
you might have been up all night with a crying baby. Some of us have
right,
got aging parents. We have to
yeah,
go and visit them or help them with medication. And 5 o'clock this afternoon was when I was going for a walk. That was going to be my time. Okay, it didn't work today. Maybe I can do a swap with my partner tomorrow morning. They can take the
yeah,
children to
yeah,
swimming,
yeah,
whatever, and
yeah,
I can swim when it's about having that flexibility and desire to say
yes,
I'm important in here too, but just because the life dropped a clanger today doesn't mean I
yes,
can't get back on tomorrow. Is that what
yeah.
you?
And as you say that, it makes me think of another important lesson I teach. And I want the women listening to kind of reflect on your own answer that when you have when you start thinking about things that you want to do for yourself. And again, I'm always in me because my passion is the health and fitness space. I'm talking about ways in which you eat, the habits you build, the way in which you move your body, the self-care. Do you do it with the intention of it being forever? Or do you do it with the intention of it being for 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months? And I want you to think about your answer. So, for a lot of people, their intention is, I just do it for a little bit of time. And that's why
Yeah.
it's easy to say, I'm throwing in the towel because I can't keep this up. This is a lifelong journey. We want to build the habits to do forever. And when you think of forever, the missed workout today is very insignificant.
Yeah.
right? It's very
Yeah.
insignificant on the forever scale.
Yeah.
It could be significant on the 30-day scale, but in the forever, like we are going, think about all of the things you're going to go through in the coming decades. There's going to be lots of bumps on the road, and you're not going to stay off the road. You're going to get back on, and you're going to like wind off it again sometimes, but you always want to come back on because this is a forever thing. We always, and I'm going to say the word need. We always need to be continuing to work on building those habits that will really serve our bodies, serve our minds, serve ourselves.
I love that. I think that's a boom
Mhm.
like moment for listeners. It's a forever journey.
Forever.
Yeah. It's an endurance. It's not a
Hmm.
sprint. And building our mental capacity, building our bone structure so that as you were
Yes.
to go back to what you were talking about early on, Michelle,
Yeah.
that in our 70s we don't break a hip because
Yes.
we've built strength. And
Yes.
let us know what you're thinking about this when you hear Michelle's episode, that
Hmm.
building forever strength, building forever health, that you want to go on that holiday to Canada. I want to go on a holiday to
Yes.
Canada
Yeah.
when I can. And I want to go on a holiday. I want to see the world. I want to do
Yeah.
things. I want to be able to still do things in my 80s.
Yes.
And I'm not going to think back to the 16th of December 2025 and go, oh, I threw in the towel because I was on a 90-day. And there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that. There's nothing wrong with those ways of, achieving your health. However, if we
Right.
can look at a little bit more longevity
Yes.
and look at it forever, as you were saying, Michelle, I
Yes.
think that's
Yeah.
the way to, really
Right.
change here as well.
Yes. Yeah. It
And
has to be forever. And I want the women to know that what feels hard today becomes easier when you do it consistently.
absolutely.
Like that's the most beautiful thing to experience yourself when
Yeah.
it's like suddenly it just becomes a part of who you are. And that is how. So if you look at somebody who is doing something, or maybe they're working out consistently, or they have great eating habits, it didn't happen overnight. They're probably 10, 20 years in,
Yeah.
or it could be even a year in. But if you start doing little things today, you will build this like repertoire of all of these things that you do over time that will look drastically different than your day to day. And it's just the consistency of doing it imperfectly, but doing it without throwing in the towel. Like, and you never throw in the towel. You can have a day where it's like, I don't need it today, or I'm not going to do it today, but it doesn't mean you're quitting. That there's no quitting because the road never ends.
It's a life road and it's a
It's a
long
life
road
road.
and it gets
Yes.
bumpy and there's U-turns and
Yes.
there's a stop sign and
It's construction.
oh my gosh.
Right? Lots of
Yeah.
problems, lots of things on the road. We all see it, right? And
Yeah.
if so it's the kind of the analogy, I'm not sure if you've heard this of, if you are on the road and you get a flat tire, you don't get out of the car and say, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to slash my other tires because this one's flat." No, you fix the tire and you keep moving.
Get on with it.
So if there's something on your journey and you feel like it equates to that slash tire of I couldn't get into that workout or I ate the bag of chips, like you're not going to slash the other tires just because you did that. You adjust and you keep going.
And as you were saying, you you did small steps for your 6 a.m.
Yes.
workouts. You got your shoes out, your runners,
Yes.
your workout gear, your runners, and 5:15, and it was a
Yes.
non-negotiable. And you built it. You built it. You
It
built
built it.
it. You
And
built it.
I didn't think could initially. I spent years telling myself I couldn't. And I think
Absolutely.
another tip I would love to leave for the women who are listening is to set yourself up to win. And what I mean by setting yourself up to win is I want you to listen to any of the information that you receive, even from us. And I want you to decide what you are capable of doing because your next thing that you're going to add into your life may look different than mine or Laura's. It may look different from your girlfriend's. It has to work for you. I want you to look at the thing and think about, okay, be honest. Can I actually do this consistently? And if you feel like you can't, you're going to go back to that dial and dial it down a little to the place where you can. Because again, you gradually build that up. And then I always tell my clients, do a couple of weeks of that. And if you feel like you're not doing the thing consistently, like 80% of the time, I want you to dial it down even more. And
That
then if
dimmer
you're
switch.
a dimmer, and then when you feel like you're doing it 80% of the time, it's a great habit that you've got going. You can then decide to like add more, dial up, or add the next thing. But I think a missing piece is we feel like it's a failure if we have to back off a little, or
Yeah.
if we have to tone it down, or maybe do a little less. That's winning. If you were evaluating and acknowledging it's a little much for me, I'm not doing it consistently. People, that's when the throwing in the towel happens instead of just modifying. Modify.
Or I need to keep up with what my friend's doing at boot camp, or
Right.
she's got the
Yes.
latest gear and I don't have that. I've got a baggy
Right.
t-shirt, so I'm not going because she's got the
Right.
latest gear. Focus on you.
Yes.
Focus
On
on you.
you. Yeah.
Wow, as we wind up today, Michelle, thank you. They've just been such, I love it. They've just been such functional, healthy, new forming habits that you've left listeners with, and it's that you've, shared today. It's been
Yes.
amazing. And if there's one, uh, l- if there's one phrase or a habit that you've
Hmm.
while we're talking about habits that you've instilled through all your changes and over your time, as you said, you've been in the
Yeah.
health and fitness
Hmm.
industry for decades. What's one thing that is a non-negotiable for you when you're having a fuck it day? I've had enough. What's a
Mm.
snack?
Hmm.
What's
Hmm.
a
Yep.
habit? What's a shut the door, leave me alone?
Yes.
What's your go-to when I've had
This
enough
is
of the world
great.
today?
Uh, I'm a little weird and I do like to move my body. That I feel like it's my stress relief. So I think when you were saying that, I'm like, I walk. I walk. I get out for a walk with some I podcast on, or I walk in gratitude. I walk and I'm like, thank you for all the blessings in my life. And it just changes how I feel. And it's an opportunity to reflect, it's an opportunity to move, it's an opportunity for me to escape and to just get some fresh air. And that tends to change how I feel in my space.
It's a shift for me.
Mhm.
I'm a bit the same. Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yes.
giving me this opportunity to do X, Y,
Yes.
Z. And it's enough to shift. It's just enough
Yes.
to shift. Um,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank
It's
you.
been amazing chatting to you, and we wish you all the best, and we will keep in touch.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
That's a wrap on this episode of Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it is. If today's conversation lit something up in you, hit subscribe, share it with your midlife crew, and keep the conversation going. I'm Lara Portelli. See you next week for another raw, real, and unapologetic chat.